Hey there, I'm Ari with the Tech Buyers Guru, and I'm back with another launch day review. This time I have Corsair's Void RGB Elite wireless gaming headset on the bench. This is a brand new product releasing today, October 10th, 2019. Now the Void lineup is not new for Corsair. In fact, it came out back in 2016. I did test the original Void surround headset. It was an $80 headset. It was decent in terms of a mid-priced gaming headset, but it didn't have a lot of the features that we now come to expect in gaming headsets. Right from the start, you can tell this has a lot of extra features because they're all in the name. Well, it's Elite, right? I don't know what that means, but I do know that it has RGB and it's wireless. So those are two things that it has on the original Void surround that I tested earlier. It is indeed a 7.1 surround headset. That's a virtual surround, as are most headsets these days. And that means it's actually pretty well spec'd to go up against a lot of the competition it has out there. And there is quite a bit of competition, and I'm going to be comparing this headset to two of my favorite wireless gaming headsets. We have the Cloud Flight from HyperX. This is a fantastic headset that I think debuted at around $130, but it's now below $100, which puts it neck and neck with the Void RGB Elite Wireless, which is a $100 headset. We also have Logitech's G935, which is currently my favorite headset. This came out a couple months ago at about $150. It sells routinely for around $130, $140 today. So that's a slightly more expensive headset, but really, if you're shopping for a wireless gaming headset, you're probably going to consider that headset. You might consider this one as well. And then you've got the new Void RGB Elite. Now, I should say that Corsair actually has a number of different gaming headset lines concurrently being marketed. So we have the Void lineup. We have the new Virtuoso lineup, a review of which I will be having on this channel shortly. And then they have, I guess, the HS lineup. I don't know if they're currently going to be promoting that one. I tested that actually a year and a half ago, and it was decent, but not fantastic. So Void is probably their mainstream lineup, and this has a lot of competition at the $100 price point. Like I said, these are two of the best competitors out there, but frankly, there's tons of competitors in this space. And what we've seen in the past couple of years is that lots of features have come down to that $100 price point. 2 or 3 years ago, you could never get a wireless headset of decent quality for $100, nor could you get an RGB headset for $100. So now you've got both of those things in a $100 headset from Corsair. The big question is, well, the two big questions: how does it feel and how does it perform? Of course, when it comes to headsets, comfort is very important, maybe paramount, in fact, for a lot of gamers. And this sticks with the somewhat unusual Void design where the headband kind of sits forward on your head. And it goes with kind of a gamer aesthetic. This is a cool white look. I do like the color scheme here, but it is a little bit more gamer oriented than some of the other competitors out there. And that may appeal to you or not. It does have quite a bit of plastic on it. The good news is, though, that it is full of features. And I'm going to go over those features one by one here in this review. And then I'll get into a microphone test where I'll compare it to these two wireless headsets. That's often a big failing of wireless headsets. They just don't have the wireless throughput to provide a good wireless mic quality, sound quality. I found that on all the headsets I've tested. And then I'll give you my impressions of the audio quality in gaming. So that's what you're going to see in this review. Let's now turn to the features. So what you get in the box is a comprehensive manual, a Corsair branded charging cord, the wireless USB receiver, and a foam windscreen for the microphone. I found the control scheme pretty easy to understand. Hold the power button 3 seconds to power off. Do the same thing to power on. That is a digital button, not an analog button. Same thing with this microphone button. Hold it for just a moment, it'll mute the microphone. Hold it for 3 seconds and it'll turn on your side tone or microphone monitoring. You can also mute the microphone simply by flipping it up. You can see here I'm muting the microphone with the button, but you do have both options. Corsair continues with the digital controls here at the volume wheel. This is a jog wheel. You press up and down for volume, press in for equalizer, press and hold for your multi-channel audio. Let's now turn to our microphone tests. So this is a test of the HyperX Cloud Flight. This is currently selling for around $100, although previously when it hit the market, it was quite a bit more expensive than the Void Elite. So you can be the judge of how this sounds. Let's now move on to the Logitech G935. And this is a test of the Logitech G935. I reviewed this back in February 2019. It has been my favorite headset up to this point. Not particularly because of the microphone quality, but just because it has a lot of features. I um, will let you be the judge of how good this mic sounds. One thing to note is that while this came out at 150, it's now more like 130 most days, so it is more or less in the same price range as the Void Elite. Now let's get to that Void Elite microphone test. This is a test of the Corsair Void Elite RGB wireless built-in microphone. I really like this microphone because it has what they call side tone, so I can hear myself through my headset. It's a mic monitor, and you can turn it on and off by pressing and holding the microphone button. Now you can be the judge of how this sounds. It sounds pretty good through my headset, but ultimately you're going to be the judge of which of the three headsets sounded the best. Now, as long as I have this on, I'm actually going to comment on the comfort of this headset as well. It's actually not the most comfortable, and the problem is that it's really made for, kind of feels like a bigger head. So when I put it on, there's actually this big gap here. It actually doesn't really sit below my ears, so all the pressure is up here, and the ear cups don't kind of fit to my head. And it's kind of like because the headband is pretty wide, so I think if you had a wide head, this would work out pretty well. But for me, it kind of feels like it's just not really in contact with the side of my head. The other thing I have an issue with is the way that the headband extends. You can pretty easily pull down the ear cuffs, but it's really, really hard to push them back up because they extend from up here, which is really odd. I'll just give you an example. Like the Cloud Elite, like a regular headset, extends right here, right? So I can easily hold it and actually make it tighter with one hand. With this headset, it's really, really hard to adjust. I mean, it's actually a pretty bad design. Like I have to pull it down and then hold the headband and push this back up. I am a little surprised Corsair didn't catch this in testing, frankly. So overall, while I think that Corsair is onto something with kind of the forward swept headband and this unusual shape of these ear cups, overall the comfort's not there. And the other reason I'm a little uncomfortable in this is that the ear cups only turn 90 degrees. They have a very limited range of motion, so you can turn them. They turn in, but they don't turn out, and that is just odd when you're putting it on. I want to grab the headset and pull it around my head, and I'm hitting the stops. I'm actually running out of space there, so I actually have to kind of extend the headband further than I would otherwise. Basically, there are a few things that Corsair seemed to have missed in designing this. So I did go ahead and weigh the three headsets I have here, and to be honest, the Corsair is the heaviest. I think a lot of it, I can just feel the weight in these hinges right here. I don't know why, I guess it's steel or something like that, but this came in at 384 grams, which actually makes it the heaviest headset I've ever tested. The G935, which is no lightweight, is 377, so 7 grams less. And the HyperX is 295. That's lightweight for a wireless headset, so almost 100 grams lighter. That's like almost a quarter pound, a fifth of a pound. This thing is heavy. So what do I think of the Void RGB Elite wireless? Well, I think that Corsair has done a really good job honing in on what its competitors are offering at the $100 price point and beating them. That's an extremely competitive market, and what you get with this headset is really so much more than you could have gotten for $100 just a few years ago. Of course, you get RGB, and that's controlled through Corsair's excellent IQ software suite. You get wireless connectivity, which again is something you couldn't really have expected at this price point a few years ago. You get 7.1 surround, it's a virtual surround, it's Dolby, and I found that it was lacking a little bit, but hey, at least it's there if you want to give it a try. It's got a flip up to mute mic, which I like a lot. It's It's got pretty cool digital controls, so multifunction buttons on the side. The volume button has a multifunction button. That's all very, very cool. I like that it has 16 hours of battery life when no RGB lights are on. That's very competitive, again, with more expensive headsets, actually. It's got 50mm drivers. That's a great thing to have in a wireless headset at $100. Basically, it ticks all the boxes. With that said, I didn't love it. And the reason I didn't love it is because I didn't find it to be that comfortable. It's extraordinarily heavy. It's the heaviest headset I've ever tested. And I also found that the limited range of mobility on the ear cups made it a little bit uncomfortable to put on. And the headset, the head strap here, headband, was just a little bit hard to use once it was on your head. So I just didn't find it was that easy to get into a comfortable position on my head. So, all of that would be passable at $100. In fact, it is passable at $100. My concern is you could step up just a little bit to one of these headsets that I tested, the G935 from Logitech, which came out earlier this year, or the HyperX Cloud Flight, which is a couple years old. And both of these are vastly superior. Now, yes, they typically sell for more, $130 to $140, but you can also often catch them on sale for $100. And at $100, they are vastly superior. They are just an absolute better choice than the Void Elite. With that said, if your budget is absolutely maxed out at $100, this is a good pick. I give it 4 out of 5 stars at that $100 price point. Again, Corsair was very, very aware of what its competitors were offering, and I think it really targeted that $100 price point with laser accuracy. It ticks off all the boxes. It's got cool styling. I think a lot of people will be happy if they step into this headset at $100. It's not my pick as my favorite headset. I just didn't find it was comfortable for my head. And of course, that's going to be particular to each person who wears it. I think it's probably better for bigger heads, but your mileage may vary in terms of how comfortable you can get in this headset. I didn't really like the surround implementation. That's okay. It's fun to play with, and then you can turn it off if you don't want to use it. And everything else about it is great. And I like the Corsair style. And of course, you get the Corsair name. You get their backing, the customer support. So these are all valuable things at $100 that you can't dismiss. And that's why I give it 4 out of 5 stars, even though I didn't love this headset. So whether you'll love it or not, I can't tell you, but I think it's a really good value, and it's worth trying if that's where your budget is. So if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Post your comments down below, and I will catch you next time.